Hey, mom issues, daddy
Yeah.
issues,
Yeah.
has no self-esteem. Should I marry this person?
I know.
It probably would have kicked back. Run, bitch.
The Ugly Truth of Divorce podcast with Sam and Leah, helping you not just survive, but thrive.
It is another episode here where we are going to talk about when you paint the red flags white. And we're going to explain here in a second, but this is pretty much going to be probably a lot of you are going to resonate because it's going to be your story. It's going to be where you turned a blind cheek and we're like, no, I'm not going to pay attention to that firehouse over there that's burning to the ground. I'm going to act like it's still there. So anyways, how are you?
I'm good.
Today has been busy.
Yeah. I get to hang out with you a lot on Thursdays, which is fun.
It is good. We don't really see each other on, was it Tuesdays? We don't see each other. And then
unless we do group coaching.
Yeah. So you guys, we offer a lot of services and we don't talk a lot about this on our podcasts and places. So just so you guys know, we run free support groups, which is where a lot of you watch this as well. But we also do the next chapter, which is a private membership group, costs $30 a month. And we do, trainings every Monday. And then we answer your questions on Thursday, if not do a part 2 of the training. And then we do group coaching where we see you twice a month, but also the perk of group coaching is when we answer your emails and help you kind of, navigate that co-parenting journey with your high conflict co-parent. What else do we offer? We offer individual products. We have courses. I have workshops coming out like crazy. It's really important to just stay on top of our links because they're constantly changing and updating. You just threw out a really great tool for everybody for ChatGPT. Why don't you talk about that? Because I really feel like that's something our viewers really need to take advantage of.
Yes. So I use ChatGPT a lot. And just throughout our experience with group coaching and talking to our clients and hearing the questions that come into us, a lot of it is revolving around communication with their high conflict ex. It's like they're getting these emails back and forth or these texts and they don't know how to respond or if they have to respond or if they are going to respond, what do they say and what's allowed? And so I created a guide that teaches you how to use ChatGPT, which is a free tool, to communicate with your high conflict ex via email, text, or co-parenting app. Lifesaver. Total game changer. It's got prompts. It's got templates. It'll teach you how to personalize it, to like customize it to your specific thing. It will literally help you come up with messages that you can send that are direct, assertive, emotions are out of it, respectful, right? You don't have to be crazy in there. And then it's like, boop, done, send, I'm done. It's like, if you have trouble setting boundaries, if you have trouble how to word things, if you have trouble just like keeping your emotions out of things, that's the tool for you. Use ChatGPT to help you communicate back and forth via email, text, or co-parenting app. So it's awesome. I've already, a bunch of people bought it already. Everybody should have this.
Yes.
I mean, I've never said that about anything that I have before because it really depends on like,
where you're at.
Yeah, where you're at. If you are co-parenting or parallel parenting, you should have this. You should have this guide. You should know how to use ChatGPT to communicate back and forth, especially if it's a high conflict person.
I have it on my link because I want all of my clients to have it too. So I put it out there as well. And the last thing that I'll say is if you are in your co-parenting journey and you're struggling, I am just started. It's brand new. Doing a workshop next Tuesday. That today is February 22nd when you're listening to this, but I'm going to do it every single month. So just check my website to see when the workshop is popping up, but it's going to be next Tuesday and Wednesday. I think here's a funny transition. Had we known of ChatGPT back when we were dating our exes, could we have typed in, hey, mom issues, daddy issues, has no self-esteem. Should I marry this person?
I know.
It probably would have kicked back. Run, bitch. So, so I had a client yesterday that said, I'm one of those people that paint red flags white. And she was talking a mile a minute and I said, whoa, what'd you just say? And she goes, I have a habit of painting all the red flags I see white. And I was like, oh, girl, I said, there's a lot of us that have done that, And so why don't you tell the people like what that means?
Yeah. And this happened twice to me. I did it twice until I learned.
You're carrying around a spray paint of white paint. You're just like, not a problem.
I think a lot of times the red flags were also, it was me. I'm the problem. Like, hey, Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Because it was where I was, like what my mindset was, what I was thinking, what I was looking for in a partner, why I wanted to be in a relationship in the first place. Like in retrospect,
Right.
I was the big red flag, right?
Yeah.
But in the relationship, it was like I just kept, so again, first marriage, let's say, for example, I was just getting that feeling of like, there's something missing. There's something missing. The day I was getting married, my heart was like pounding out of my chest. I literally, I
Not
felt
with
like I
excitement.
had, like, back in the day, I took like ecstasy like twice. That's what it felt like. It felt like I had just taken drugs and like I couldn't even control it. Like my heart was going to pop out. And it wasn't in a good way. It wasn't like, oh, I'm so excited about this day. It was just like dread or something. Like, what am I doing? Is this a huge mistake? Like, oh my God. But that pressure, well, all these people flew out here. I was living in California at the time. So like people flew out to come and I spent all this money and everyone put all this time in and everyone's here. And like, I can't back out now. And the next day, the next morning, I woke up, looked at my husband and I was like, I just had that feeling of like, oh, this is it. Here he is. Here he is. You know? And then the second time we rushed real quick, right? I didn't, after my divorce, I got right into a relationship. We broke up, got right back on the dating apps. The first dude I went on a date with, he moved in like months, like a matter of like a couple of months, because, and that should have been a red flag, is like, oh, he lost where he lived, like, and he had no car. And these are the winners, right? That I like to pick. So he moved in. Everybody was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, he's moving in so quick. Like, are you sure? And I was like, mind your business. Like, I'm going to do what makes me happy. I'm going to do what I want. Just red flags everywhere. I'm
only laughing because we're idiots. I was an idiot. I did the same thing. So my ex-husband, I will never forget. I married him after 60 days. 60 days. I've never known this person. I met him on a fucking Saturday and I was married literally like 60 days later on a fucking Tuesday. And I remember I didn't tell my parents about him. They'd only met him once. And then like we went to a birthday party on a Saturday and I married him on Tuesday. I knew I was marrying him on Tuesday and didn't tell anybody. Like to me, hello subconscious. You're doing something wrong when you don't tell anybody. I didn't wear my ring.
You don't want people to talk you out of it. You don't want people telling you, know.
And I had told one girlfriend and we were on a walk one day and she said, look, Sam, I've known you longer than I know him. And she was dating a guy from his town. And she said, look, I'm hearing nothing but red flags. And I was like, as this viewer just put, I can fix it.
Yes, I can fix it. That's what I said. Oh, you got kicked out of your house? Oh, you have no car? Oh, that's really a run of bad luck.
That was me. Oh, your ex-wife took everything out of your house? Let me replace everything. Oh, you lost custody of your son? Must not be for valid reasons whatsoever. Let me help you get your son back. And then the second, you know how you rolled over the next day? So I married him on a Tuesday, come home, and the shock is hitting me that I have to call my parents. So I call my parents, I tell them to both get on the phone. And this is back when like wall landlines were a thing, So I can hear my parents like breathing into the phone. And I was like, hey, I just want, and my ex is on the other line and our landline phone. So the four of us are on the phone. And I remember just the sheer fucking panic of me having to say, I just got married. There was the longest silence in the world to me on the other end. And all I could hear was
your idea to not involve your parents?
Are you serious?
It was his idea?
Yes.
He was like, no, let's go do this in secret. Yeah.
It'll be romantic. And I'm like, okay.
Right.
So I'm telling my parents and silence. And I think, I believe my mom just put the phone down and my dad goes, I cannot believe you did this to her. And they hung up.
Wow.
And my dad didn't talk to me for 6 months. My mom came around, but not happy, not happy, but she's like, you're my kid. His mom was like, this is great. Oh my God. It was, but the second I heard the pause from my parents is the rollover moment for me. Yeah. I went, what the fuck did I just do?
Right.
I took away my dad walking me down the aisle. I took away dances. I took away moments. I took away pride. I took away telling.
Right. I
And
mean, like, think about like if Joe did that,
oh,
right?
I'd
Like
fucking
you
kick her
have
ass.
this kind of thing in your mind of like, oh, I'll be a part of this
I'll
one
kick
day.
her ass.
Right. She calls you
I will
mom.
kick her ass. How my parents didn't drive to where I was and pull me out of that house and kick my ass, I will forever be grateful that they didn't, but I will kick her ass because now I know. And my mom said that later, I believe. I think my mom said, you'll know how this feels someday. And bitch is right. I know exactly. If one of my children elope, I will kill them. And
well, here's another question. So those people, right? And this was both me and you, is like, there were red flags. Like there were people that would have told us and have told us, what are you
Don't
doing?
tell
You
your
shouldn't
parents.
be doing that. Like the gut, right? So when you told them that you were getting divorced or did get divorced, did you have people that were like, finally, or thank God, or I knew that was going to happen, or saw it
100%.
coming, or like that kind of reaction?
100%. Yeah. And then we got married at a park. So this was my dad's way of getting back at me all the time in a funny, not so funny kind of way. Anytime we'd go past a park when we were in the car at the same time, he would go, that looks like a good place to get married. That looks like a good place to get married. And that was his way of like, you hurt me. And so I'm going to hurt you. And, so yeah, like as soon as we got divorced and separated, there was a few people that were like, you guys seem so fine in public, but the few people that had seen us like have explosion fights in public, I had just remembered one just the other night. And again, we had just got married in September and he has this Christmas party. So we're talking months, right? Or it was a year because we had already had our son. And so we'd had Walker and it was 1 year that we'd been married and we're at this Christmas party and I had 2 beers. Now my ex-husband didn't let me drink. It was only drunks drink. So I didn't drink a lot, but when I met him, I was drinking like 12 beers a day. So he changed me real fast, right? Red flag. And my parents had come to watch our baby, brand new baby, only a few months old. And so we went to this Christmas party. I had 2 beers. The whole Christmas party group decided to go to a bar before we all dispersed and came back home. And we lived like 30, 40 minutes away from where we were having this Christmas party. And somebody bought me a beer at the next bar and said, hey, I saw you drinking, a Bud Light. Here's another beer. My ex-husband lost his godforsaken mind. He left the bar, went to the bar next door because they had a payphone. Because again, you guys, this is back in ancient times, wall phones and everything. He called the payphone and called my parents, who were watching our child at our house, and said, come get your daughter. She's embarrassing me. He's calling my parents to tell me I'm like 27, 28 years old, to come pick my ass up that I've embarrassed him, that I had beer number 3. And so my mom was like, good luck. She's your fucking wife.
Right. You
deal with her shit.
Right.
Because they don't know if I'm acting out. They don't know if I'm on a table dancing. They don't know. They're hearing his version, but they also know me, so they're like, this seems a little weird. So we pull back in the driveway after we have this big, huge fight at this bar where he's telling me every which way I'm wrong. And I'm defending him to everybody that's like, you need to leave him. Like, this is crazy. I'm like, don't worry. It's my fault. I shouldn't have drank.
Right.
I'm going around correcting his behavior. It's my fault. He told me not to drink. I'm the one that said yes to it. I'm the one that should have known. I'm blaming myself. We get home. I'm like, let's go inside. He goes, I'm not going inside till your parents leave. What? He's like, I'm not going to speak to them. They didn't come pick you up like I told them to. So I go in and I'm overly profusely apologizing to my parents
because he involved them
for his behavior. And I'm like, he's just upset. I had another beer. He had told me not to have another beer. And my parents are looking at me going, do you hear yourself? And I'm just like, yeah, it's my fault. He told me not to drink and I'm the one that did anyways. And my dad's like, you were raised better, and left. Like I think they wanted to shake me so many times and be like, why are you doing this? Like, but they were my parents and they were very respectful when they probably could have not been. But when I finally did leave him, they were like, we don't know who the fuck you were for those 4 years. Like, you were not yourself, And I was under just this whole making excuses for him all the time. It's my fault. I'm the red flag. And it's like, no, I was not. And I look back at what I put my parents through. I don't know how they survived it because I married him
as let you figure it out. They had to step back and just let you learn the hard lessons. That probably was really hard.
And I was so mad at them for that. Like, why can't they just be happy for me? Because they knew I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
They knew I wasn't happy.
Right.
And that's why they couldn't encourage it, and now that I have kids, which my mom said, when you have kids, you're going to know exactly how this feels. She was so right.
Yeah, they usually are.
Oh, yeah. I learned after that divorce that my parents have been right every time in my life.
Yeah.
So that's why they're still my people. Like
Right.
I call them for everything because I know they have a perspective that I don't have, a failure and learning, and so I hope everybody has someone, and it might not be your parents, you don't have your parents, but somebody that you can call.
I wonder, I mean, my life would have been completely different. I don't know in what way specifically, but man, things would have turned out a lot differently. I think if I did have my mom to be able to like ask her questions, or for her to be like, no, like, what are you doing? But I mean, I'm sure I still would have made mistakes. That's what we do. But yeah, I think it is important to have someone that you trust. But it's also just important to know yourself, like to really, really know yourself, and to know that you are making choices for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And you have healed whatever childhood shit you've been dragging around with you. And you've like dealt with the things that you need to deal with. That is what gets you in that place where you can really start trusting yourself. Because I think that was me too. That was why I was making stupid choices, is I just didn't trust myself. I was like taking other people's, it's like my first husband.
Hey, mom issues, daddy issues, has no self-esteem. Should I marry this person?
I know.
It probably would have kicked back. Run, bitch.
Was just so convinced that we were meant to be together that I just believed him. Like I didn't trust myself enough to know. I took his, like how serious he was about it. And I was like, well, I mean, if he believes it that much, then it must be true.
I remember my ex-husband saying some things like, if you and I get married, it's going to look so much better for me in court, and we'll be able to get my son back. And so, it'll look like we're the stable home. And I'm like, okay, so, like, let me help you. I fell in love with my stepson in 2.3 seconds. Like, I know I married him after 60 days. And I truly believe it's because I met my stepson and I felt for this little boy. Like, he was a redhead. He was 3, just turned 3. He was just the cutest fucking thing. And I fell for him. And so I was like, I need to help him in his life. I need to be there. And his dad doesn't really know how to do all said things. So let me come in and help and fix everything and kumbaya and put this shit together. So, I went from being single to a stepmom in 2.60 days. And, we had full custody of him within a year after that. And I regret that decision now looking back on it. I believe smoke, lies, and mirrors. And I ripped this child from his mother, who is a great human being. And her and I are still friends to this day. And we've been through a lot together. Her and I have fucked each other over a couple times throughout the past 20 some years of knowing each other. And we know that we got taken advantage of. From he was told things to her, and then he told me things. I'll never forget when I kicked him out and we got divorced. The night that I said, we need to separate, blah, blah, blah. I said, just let the kids stay asleep. I'll take them to school the next day. And then you can pick up Lane, or my stepson, and do whatever you need to do. And his mom was coming over that night to pick him up for visitation. And I was like, I'll go out with you and we can tell her that we're separating and blah, 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 blah. He wouldn't let me. And I thought at that point we were going to do this divorce thing together. I didn't know yet that it was going to blow up into this fucking 8-year battle. And I should have known. There was something about that moment when I said, let's go out together and tell her. He said, no, I'll do it. That he went out, told this narrative of vicious things that I've done to his child, their child. And then she immediately hated me again. And it was like, none of that was true. Wow. But she believed it. And so her and I have been in these cycles where he has fucked with both of us and made us hate each other. And we finally figured it out years later that we were both lied to. And now our kids are all still together and he's out of the picture. Right. And so, but I think it's that whole, I trusted him. I believed he had good intentions, and he never once from the word go had good intentions. He didn't. He doesn't have the ability to have good intentions. He doesn't. He wasn't raised to have good intentions. His mind doesn't work in good intentions. He just doesn't. Everything is me, myself, and I. And I thought I could fix that.
Yeah. And in the beginning, they tell you everything you want to hear, right? They
yeah.
they mirror and they have all these techniques to be for manipulation and yeah.
But yeah, I was painting. I saw the red flags. I saw them. Let's see, no, didn't have a lot of money, was like, oh, you could help me with bills, just move in, our stepson would have more. And
my ex is crazy. She's the
Oh.
problem.
Yeah. He told me she took everything but the curtain rods. Yeah, not true. But I believed it, and then later when I was telling her the stories that I had heard, she was like, are you fucking kidding me? He didn't even let me back in the house. And I was like, oh, well, that would have been, and no wonder you were mad at me when we went to court and tried to take your kid away.
Yeah.
And
that's what makes it so hard too, when your ex moves on and then finds a new target or supply and then just brainwashes them to like hate you. And then now you're dealing with two people being horrible assholes to you when you just want to tell her the truth. Like, be like, listen, he's just telling you bullshit. Like, this is all lies. Don't trust anything he says. Like, you can't really do that. And even if you do, they're not going to believe you.
That's when the wheels fall off the bus.
It's like when they get a new partner involved and then it's like, here we go.
But so if you were one of those people that, painted all the red flags white for the temporary until it rained real hard for the first time and all the paint washed away. And guess what? The red flags are still there. They are still there and they're still there today. Same flags are still waving strong in our co-parenting / parallel parenting, journey. They don't go away. They really don't. If this is truly who this person is, they're not going to go away. They mask themselves sometimes. Sometimes they paint their own flags white for a little bit. But it rains again and it washes off and they go right back to being who they are. So if you guys have found this helpful, share it with a friend so that they maybe don't feel so alone if they too got married after 60 days and realized it was the biggest mistake of their life.
Yeah.
But I don't regret it because I am standing here today having a wonderful family, blended family, beautiful business, friendship with you. Like it was all the plan.
Right.
It was all the plan, It was just a really shitty plan at the beginning. So,
but you learn, you learn from your lessons.
You learn and share it with your kids, share some of the red flag mistakes that you've made so your kids don't make those same mistakes. So we are here to share our miseries that we've done wrong and mistakes we've done so that you guys can do better. So we hope you've enjoyed this and we'll be back with another episode.